The time is 7:32. We call the meeting to order and ask everyone to stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Regarding attendance, most of us are here. I know that Alan Valaket said that he will be here. He'd be just a little bit late. Everyone should have a copy of the agenda. We are not making any actions today. It's just discussion topics. But again, feel free to look at the agenda and let me know if you have any comments on that or if we can proceed as shown.
Make a motion to approve the agenda as printed.
Second.
Motion by Wes, seconded by Jameson. All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Passes. So, we do have public comment. No one is in the audience tonight, but if they do come later on, we'll be happy to reopen public comment. With that, close, open and close public comment. Moving forward, the discussion items. The first item is about the Downriver Link Greenways and Iron Bell Trail wayfinding. So, folks that have been able to travel along Meridian near Macomb Street may have seen our first kiosk that shows some wayfinding signage related to the Downriver Link Greenways. There might be see similar signs in Trenton as well as in Wyandotte and other parts of the Downriver area. This is all part of a larger effort to connect our communities and help people that might not be familiar with the area in order to navigate communities. And so we have the one already set up at Macomb, and so it'll direct people to go down Macomb Street utilizing either the sidewalks or the road and be able to frequent our businesses and end up at the Macomb Street overlook and be able to see East River. There may be another wayfinding, there'll be a little bit more wayfinding signage once our Bellevue and West River connector projects are finished. But as for right now, we are officially recognized and connected within the system. I was able to see that was installed right before Christmas, so it was a good little Christmas present to see within the communities. I'm not sure if anyone else had a chance to take a look at it or if anyone has questions or comments about the wayfinding signage. Looks good. Hearing none, we will move into a year in review. So I just want to say that, well, first of all, I should have said Happy New Year to everyone. We had a great year in 2023. We were able to accomplish quite a bit. Just off the top of my head, I know that we were able to do the Gibraltar Bay Connector thanks to a great partnership, including the Byers family. We were able to install the bike repair station over on the Meridian Path by the Public Safety. As I mentioned before, we have the wayfinding signage. And we're able to move forward with the Bellevue connector. We also did Walk to School Day in 2023 and Bike to School Day. So I think in general we're accomplishing what we set out to do. Encourage everyone to kind of think back and see what else we might have done, because in the coming months we'll need to prepare a report to the township showing what our objectives were for the split 2023-2024 year, and so showing what objectives we did make, what we had, what we actually completed, if there's anything additional that we were able to accomplish. So is there anything that people are thinking about right now that might not have mentioned that we did accomplish in 2023?
I don't think so. I think you hit all the big projects. So I'm looking towards 2024 now.
Definitely. I guess since I don't have it specifically itemized on the agenda over here, Jameson, I was wondering if you might be able to give us a little bit of a recap of the Bellevue connector.
Sure.
I know there was some action on that in December with a good outcome.
Yep. So I want to I guess, point out that on, I think it was the 10th of December, the Township Board unanimously approved the future construction and current design of the Bellevue Connector, which will run from the Meridian Bike Path all the way west down Bellevue to West River Road, then northbound up to the Parkway Drive Connector Road, and then across the bridge. It's kind of the key feature is that it ties us into the Iron Bell Trail and the Downriver Link Greenways and Great Lakes Way trail systems. The former DTE site across the river and south of the bridge is going to be supposedly turned into a battery factory, some like light industry over there, and they've promised to input a river walk on that side, which will also connect to that trail system. Wayne County is going to do a cut into Elizabeth Park, and then of course there's the trail that runs parallel to Jefferson. So it's pretty cool. It's going to tie us into the whole system. We worked with the country club, and in particular President Jay Frucci, and the current trail design excerpts a section of it. I think it's about 200 yards from the parking lot near the Grosse Ile Golf and Country Club pool up to their last cart trail west of there. So there'll be no trail in that section. However, their board has resolved to work with us on a phase 2 of the project in order to get that gap filled. And we're looking at some, I guess, maybe less orthodox way of doing that, more interesting and unique ways of doing it, which could potentially include like a partial or total road closure, linear park, extended shoulder. So we really haven't dug into that yet. But I think it's a great project. I think it, talking to Ross in community development, having intermodal means of traversing on and off the island, which we will now have, actually opens up a lot of grant opportunities for portions of the local government that aren't necessarily exactly bike trails and pedestrian right-of-ways and whatnot. So all around, I think it's a great thing. Whole project's going to cost $2.2 million, which is entirely grant funded. So there'll be no local taxpayer contributions to the design and construction. So I think it's a win-win for Grosse Ile.
Jameson, how far is the path going from West River Road down Bellevue from west to east?
It from the Meridian Trail all the way west down Bellevue, except it's going to stop at the country club's pool parking lot and resume again at their last golf cart path.
Okay, so going from west to east, we're going to go from West River Road to the Grosse Ile Country Club's property line, basically.
No, it's about, I think, maybe 30 yards beyond that, or maybe even a little longer than that. Their last cart path isn't quite all the way at their property edge, but generally speaking, more or less, yes. Yeah.
So one of the options is to possibly close Bellevue Road.
Right.
Aren't we just kind of spinning our wheels by putting that path in, going down Bellevue that far?
I don't think so, because part of the rub was, the country club is a historic country club. I don't golf, but I'm told that the guy that designed it was pretty famous, and it's a kind of a big deal. So,
But he's been dead 100 years.
yeah. So apparently apparently I underestimated the importance of that. So I think that by doing it this way, we still maintain non-road access to their pool for kids to be able to get to the pool and the tennis courts, and we still give people a means of accessing water's edge. And I think in the future, it all kind of combines into improving water's edge, improving the waterfront, potentially extending the marina and things like that. So I get what you're saying. I mean, it might not be. Closing the whole road would make the path irrelevant, but I don't think closing the whole road's really an option. So.
And we need to preserve access to the country club driveway, to their swimming pool, and then to Water's Edge on the other side. So at the very least, we need to preserve that access on the other ends, and I believe that's just where the sidewalk is.
Right. So if you did close the road for the section that won't be paved as part of the Gibraltar Bay Connector, you would still preserve access to all of the facilities along Bellevue.
So you said, what was the eastern edge? Was it the main driveway, like to the country club, or was it the pool?
It is the edge of their parking lot there.
Edge of the on-street parking? Or,
Yes,
okay,
yeah. The parking lot that's built in the right of way.
okay.
That one there. It's kind of right where the road takes a bend.
Yeah. So yeah, that's what I thought it was, and I was just double checking because I think you said it was like about 200 yards. Again, just spitballing it using Google Maps. It looks like it's more like 550 yards.
Yep.
So it's more, but it's still like it's a long enough section that I think it makes sense for us to look at doing either a partial or full closure of the roadway because
Yeah.
people could
And
actually
I think
use
the country club is amiable to that too, because it kind of gives them a little bit more leeway in that space, right? Which divides their golf course anyway, So I think that's probably doable. And maybe, if Wayne County if Wayne County's not interested in it, we could certainly go to other echelons of government too, so.
If we are able to close that, that's the cheapest way to fill that gap, which also has like the most consensus as far as it has enough wide facility for people walking and biking, and even more so, it's like it's wider so you can enjoy it. It's more of a linear park. It also makes the country club happy, and it costs the least. So no promises on that, but it still makes sense since there seems to be interest in that, both from the country club, and we didn't hear anything from the township board saying that no way, don't do that. It seems like it would be the next step is to further study that again. I will say that other members of the country club did reach out to me and said, hey, I'd be interested in helping out as well. People with children, they get it. They want to be able to see that access. One person was saying about, hey, I've seen where they have the bollards that go up and down automatically, and so that way EMS or other public safety would be able to control that, and it's blocked off for motor vehicles most of the time, but you still preserve that emergency access. So I'm excited for this, and I want to potentially continue moving forward with this while the iron's hot, and be able to take people up on their offers to see if we can make this path whole.
All right, I'll initiate contact about it. Start with Wayne County.
Yeah, I'm not sure if I'd start with Wayne County, because I just want to make sure again, everybody else is on board first, so it's
I
not.
think we should start with the fire department, because that's been my understanding, which is one of the stumbling blocks you have with closing that road.
I mean, they're gonna say they don't like it.
Obviously, so you have to start there and get them on board.
I don't think that it would have a significant impact on their ability to respond to calls, but we could certainly engage with them about it. So it's Wayne County's road, they're gonna be the deciders.
Definitely. I just want to make sure we're in unison. It's just, if I was in Wayne County shoes, and some people are saying, hey, close the road, and other people from the township are saying no. It's like, who do you listen to on that? And
Well,
it's
I guess
we
I
have
can-
a unified voice. I think it makes our case stronger.
I'll see if I can get a resolution from the board then.
Yeah, that would be great.
Okay.
So, next item I have for discussion is about our master plan. So, both.
Going back to that, one way to do that maybe is just to vacate the road and have the county give it to us. They may actually be interested in that, because then they would not have any responsibility to maintain it, and it's just something to consider.
And you actually
Just like the rest of our roads.
Yep. What's that?
So you have more control than what we're installing ballards there.
But no, we would have control, because I think the county, they're just gonna get wrapped up in legalese, like who's responsible if the ballards don't go down, and
Yeah.
then there's an issue there, and you're gonna end up with a 700-page agreement. But what do we, it would be easy for the township to maintain, I think, it's not a unreasonable burden.
Right.
Yeah.
And to vacate that road would allow us to really do what you want to it, in a
Yeah.
sense, and satisfy all the other departments.
Yeah, it makes sense to me.
John, do you think you might be able to do like a back of the envelope, like, hey, what would it cost to like maintain that road?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we can put together kind of I'll look at we can rate it kind of per the Pazer and see
Yeah.
what condition it's in now, and then provide kind of an idea of what an O&M would be on an annual basis.
And
Yeah.
I know some of the comments about the sidewalk with the retaining wall was about maintenance of the retaining wall and things. So I'm sure people will say, well, if we're going to own it, how much is it going to cost to maintain and where that money coming from?
Yeah.
So it would be good to know, like, hey, if you keep it up as a road, what does it fully
Sure.
cost? If we turn it into a linear parkway that is paved, maybe you don't have to use the same specs as you would.
Oh, yeah,
as
no,
a road.
that would also alleviate that as well, would allow us to be a little bit more creative in not doing the standard, reconstruction or repaving or what have you.
Yeah.
With the county specs.
With the county specs, yeah.
And I would think that, again, you could do like shave and pave type stuff,
Yeah.
run underneath the road, like, what the,
Mhm.
hey, like, do those need to be replaced at any time? What does that cost? Because I just know the area floods
Oh,
at
it's
times,
awful,
and
that
so,
flooding.
Oh, yeah, it's an old creek bed that goes through there, that they blocked off when they built Groseal Parkway. And you can actually see the topography of why that's there.
yeah. No, that's a great point that
Yeah.
you did bring up, though, John. I remember, like, when I was first looking into this, again, probably about 3 or 4 years ago, and, I talked to the director over at Wayne County Roads about it, and they said, actually, we think you own that road, so you do what you want with it. Like,
Oh, yeah,
we
that was
own it.
young, yeah, he
It
was
just a
wrong, yeah.
mistake.
Yeah, he was wrong.
Great point. Yeah, so like the next item was about the master plan. So I don't know if you know, but the entire community is engaged in a master plan renewal process. So it's involving, it's starting from the planning commission, but it's involving all, township departments and reaching out to the DEA and reaching out to residents. So there's been quite a few meetings about that already. And, they have been opened to BPAC, including our plans for the future within that. So that way we can show, what do we want to do regarding, new trails or new shared use paths, or, where do we need safety improvements. So we have a lot of information that collectively either in our heads or, we put down like on paper, but it's not an official document. So I would like to turn something in just for consideration within the next month. So I'm hoping that there could be a subcommittee of us that take a look at that, make sure that there's nothing that the subcommittee doesn't agree with. And then maybe next month or a special meeting we can get back together and just vote on that to make sure that it's again BPAC's view rather than just mine or Jameson's or anybody else that was part of that subcommittee. So I guess get your thinking caps on, and again, let me know if you'd like to participate with that.
Brian, I have 2 questions. First question is, are all the commissions going to turn in a 5-year plan? Do you know?
That's a great question that I don't know.
So I mean, the master plan and a 5-year plan are different things. The master plan goes out further than that. I don't know that any of them have been directed to turn in a 5-year plan. The big ones that, are of greatest concern are police and fire, right? Because they're the biggest chunks of the budget, probably followed by DPS, and should have 5-year plans. Where they're at along that life cycle, I'm not exactly sure. I know for DPS, it's largely like asset management type stuff, whereas for fire and police, it's more like personal equipment type stuff,
So
They also get unexpected mandates, like, for instance, the body cams, and, that's tens if not hundreds of thousands of dollars.
So
yeah, I mean, I think we're kind of getting a little off BPAC topic per se, but I think the way that the township manages finances could be clearer and more, and could be modern, right? Like, it's pretty arcane and archaic the way it's done. So maybe we could kind of lead the way with BPAC a little bit. You know, I don't know. We haven't really done a lot of budgeting, so maybe we need to start, you know, maybe in the new township year.
So is the 5-year plan strictly a budget, or, you know, what's included within a 5-year
No,
plan?
it's all kinds of things, like, you know, goals, intent, budget, like, you know, if there's a potential millage you're going to look for, how you're going, you know, when your millage ends. It's pretty comprehensive. So I can maybe ask for a couple examples. I think the police and fire ones wouldn't be all that applicable to us because we don't have personnel costs. But maybe we can scour what they have to kind of, I don't know, get some of the other subtop annexes out of it or something.
I'm not sure if this is one and the same, or if like it's nested within a 5-year plan or something completely different. But you know, I am familiar with capital improvements plans, and so like again, that typically looks like 1 to 2 to maybe 3 years out. I guess maybe they could go out 5 years, and it's like, you know, what projects are you looking to
That's
do?
probably more in our wheelhouse, I guess, than just a straight up 5-year plan, I suppose. So, no, I think it would be a good idea for us to have a plan. I think that there's, you know, as far as master plan and then maybe some shorter term planning and stuff like that. I think at some point we need to start discussing millages, but I think right now there's no appetite for it among the public. So it would be a bad time to ask for a bicycle or a path millage. So
I think you need to have the plan ready before like asking for something, so you can show exactly what you're going to do, and you know, again, like making sure there's an appetite for it, and then showing like where else are we pulling from, so that way it's not just, hey, let's go back to the township residents and ask for more money. It's like
Right.
we're doing our due diligence and trying to stretch every dollar as far as we can go.
yeah, I wonder. I'll talk to Ross about it, but I'm sure there is a like trails and pedestrian component of the master plan that Smith Group is putting together. So maybe we can, you know, get some involvement with that. So maybe we can get some graphics put together and, you know, things like good idea fairy type stuff that maybe we could use down the road.
I know I have spoken to Ross about this in the past, as well as Smith Group, and they both seemed on board with it. They said, hey, if you have something in map form, please get that to us. So I know that at least the door seems open. It's definitely not shut. So I think it's just like how quickly we can get something to them, and you know how much we're actually asking, because we don't want to do a scope creep and create something that's, you know, much more intense than what was intended for a master plan.
Yeah, there's been a couple of like sort of large, well, I guess they could scale, but sort of big ideas people have talked to me about concerning BPAC's lane. One of them was, is there potential to create like a mountain bike club, right? Not a government organization, but to provide some support to them so they could maybe do like some mountain biking type obstacles and trails in the open spaces. Another one that was brought up to me actually by the country club was some of them would like to see linear trails through the open space, like paved trails, right? Clear trees, maybe 18 feet, put 8-foot wide trail curving through the middle of them, connecting them, and things, which would be really cool. Expensive, but cool. So I think there is appetite for these kind of things. We're just not this political season, I think. So.
And related to that, you know, talking with Carl Blocher, he would like to have BPAC and open space, you know, have a joint meeting, or at least, you know, a subcommittee of each group get together to talk about the joint efforts.
Or I suppose another option, you'd want to make sure you have you want to do talent management with it, but you could also have a member of BPAC also be a member of open space, and vice versa. They kind of function as liaisons.
Yeah. For folks that are a little newer on this commission, we actually had that back in the day. Back in the day, it sounds pretty old here. Anyways, even recently, I'd say within like the last 5 years, So both, Carl Blotcher was our last liaison for BPAC, and he was also on open space. But we also had Dan Jaster, who is a member of BPAC and was on open space. So we had double trouble in regards to having the representation, which was great. But we have lost that in recent years. So yeah, I guess, is there anybody right now that's interested in being a part of the subcommittee for the master plan?
Well, I've got the time, so I'll contribute.
Okay.
Yeah, I can as well.
Okay. So we want to keep it, below a quorum. So I think that's 3 right now, and again, we can bring it back to the full commission over here for more comments. Cool. Thank you, Alan.
Brian, when do you want to turn all this in? Do they have a set date for this? Or?
I need to double check. It's been a little while. Last time I spoke with them was during the mobile tour, which was either early December or late November. And with the holidays, just haven't caught up with them. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to go to the planning commission meeting yesterday, so I don't know, but I can get that information ASAP.
It's been going forward quite a while now, and I would imagine we don't have too much time.
Yeah, it'd be good just, if we can crank it out within like the next 2 weeks, I think that would be great. Again, there's a lot of information that's there. I think it's just sort of pulling it through and saying okay, what's the top things that we want to include within the master plan, and then getting them the language. Cool. Next item I had was about commission member size. So this commission has been large, it's been smaller. Right now, we have 7 seats, we have 6 people, but actually a part of the commission. We've had this opening for, I feel like maybe close to a year now. So there hasn't been anybody without a really concerted push to ask for help, ask for someone to come on here. So given that, I wanted to just, test the waters to see how people felt about maybe long-term going down to a 5-person commission rather than a 7-person commission. That way it's easier to get quorum, and then, we can be more productive regarding that. My thought is on something like that it wouldn't potentially have to be hey, next month if we decide that someone's off, it could be that, well, hey, maybe there's somebody that's on the fence, it's been hard to make it to meetings, and maybe they were looking to get out sooner, at some point, and so when they decide to leave, then we go down to 5. And regardless of if it's that way, or if we decide to make an action to just make it 5 at some point, I would think that we would always entertain having people that are interested in being a part of this commission by coming to the meetings when they could, and provide just as we've done for Rebecca when she was able to. We're always willing to listen to the public and have people be a part of this that aren't technically part of the BPAC, but we still consider them part of it.
I do kind of wonder, they wouldn't have any voting authority, but you could have members at large, right? So they wouldn't be commissioners, they'd be quote unquote members, right? So maybe somebody that's hey, listen, I can't be there reliably, but I'd like to participate. You could do kind of a honorary member.
Yeah.
As far as going down to 5, it does make it easier to get quorum because you only need 3 people. So if we did go down to 5, I would want to do it through attrition, like you said, right? Next time a person leaves the board, we go down to 5. So the other thing we could do is switch me to a non-voting member, which would drop you to 5 right there. And I would be functionally just a liaison as opposed to a liaison and a commissioner. So that would be another option for you too. I don't know if we're allowed to have alternates. I gotta look into that. So I know ZBA has alternates, but I'm not sure.
I don't know whether any commissioners other than the ZBA has one with this.
Yeah, I'm not certain. So I'll look into that, Wes.
So yeah, again, no action is needed on that tonight. I just wanted to
Sure.
bring that up there in the spirit of transparency and see how people thought about that.
Okay.
Here to pull up my agenda again. My computer went to sleep. Okay, last item is about 2024 priorities. So as previously mentioned, the township fiscal year will be coming to an end within like this quarter. So I believe either the end of March or the beginning of March, I can't recall like when the new one officially starts. But point being that, we submit a list of accomplishments along with, showing like what our objectives were for last year. We also need to put together a list for this coming year. So I would like people to start thinking about what they'd like to do for this coming year. I think like one of the big things besides the Bellevue, filling that Bellevue gap would be addressing the bridge along Meridian. So it's like that project will be coming to an end, and we'll know exactly what the Wayne County replaced on that bridge and what they did not, and trying to figure out a game plan for refurbishing that bridge.
Yeah, and I think it's going to be pretty nice. I don't know how nice the connections are going to be, right? Which I think is your area of concern. I think the other thing we need to start considering is maintenance of our current Meridian Trail. I don't know what the options are, but I think we need to start looking into that because at some point we're going to have to. I don't know how old it is. 8 years, 10 years.
The Meridian Trail.
Yeah.
The Meridian Trail itself, depending on the section, is probably 30 years old.
Oh, is it? Okay, so it's probably getting there.
Then we just
I thought
finished
it was-
up last year, a contract that took 2 years, or 3 years to complete, with all the seal coating
Yeah.
and cracks and joints,
Yeah.
et cetera. So that actually should be in pretty decent shape at this point right now, except for wherever they screwed up on their construction.
And the construction, yeah.
Yeah, there's a couple sections of it where it's resealed, but it is starting to shift, right? You got the chunks that are starting to go in this direction, another chunk going in that direction. I don't know what you call that, but
Yeah.
Alligating, it's like
Alligator
alligating.
cracking,
Yeah.
alligating.
Alligator cracking.
Yeah, alligator
Oh,
cracking,
okay.
kind of looks like the surface of an alligator.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's kind of what,
And I assume, like, I noticed the other day that they were using a 1-ton truck to drive down the trail and collect garbage, which I thought was like a little excessive. Like, don't we have like a golf cart or something, or drive on the road?
They're not supposed to be on it unless they're a utility vehicle.
No, well, I'm pretty sure it was the township, but it was like an F-350 or something, so.
Yeah.
heavy duty.
Yeah, which I'm sure isn't good for it.
Which goes back to saying, like, we can legislate and say you're not supposed to do that, but unless we're actively going to enforce it, like, it's still going to happen.
Yeah.
And so, does it make more sense to, design for that? So it's like, yeah, maybe you don't have it where it's like a full semi-truck can go on the road, but it could handle the weight of an F-350 or, some sort of vehicle that's probably gonna be, going on there, because I think that's a problem that we have every single year.
Yeah, when it's 90 degrees out and they're driving on it, it's pretty compromised.
Yeah, so I'll send Derek an email about that actually, because I'm pretty sure it was the township picking up the public trash bins. So at least it was frozen. So,
I've noticed that when there's repair work done and they cut into the path and they patch it, they're not sealing the seams on it. And some of them are starting to heave. And I don't know how extensive it is, but over the years, I'm sure they've cut that path up a lot. But
Yeah.
I've noticed a few of them are really starting to get compromised with the.
so maybe in the spring, I'm not a surveyor or anything, so I guess this would be a little bit amateurish, but maybe we grab a map and take a ride down the trail, take some quick measurements, mark the trouble areas.
Yeah.
At least then we could do some,
patchwork maintenance maybe and preserve it a little.
Definitely. I like the way you're thinking. John and I have, did that in the past with
Yeah.
a couple other people. And then, we rode from the north end all the way to the south end and it, grow as well. And then we basically said, okay, this part's in good shape. This part needs some, general maintenance, maybe some, crack sealing and seal coating. And other parts might need we called it shave and pave, but it's basically just ripping up part of the surface and then adding some later on.
Okay.
On top, capping it. And then there's stuff where you had to do like a full depth repair. So we could do that again, either us as a commission, or we could hire the township consultant, engineering consultant, or someone to go out there and help us with that. But I think it's good to do that asset management and just show what is the what's the state of repair on everything on the path, and then come up with a plan. And then if you do that every year, you can actually show how quickly the path, or how maybe it's the opposite. How forgetting the word here, but basically the path is staying in great shape over 5 years or a decade or more. Basically just have that quantitative data to justify why we might need to take corrective action, and which relates back to the millage. I know our plan was to be able to do some sections of pathway every single year, so that way I believe after 20 years we have restored everything on the path, and then you just start over again and just you work on it and repair what needs to be done. I know one of the challenges has been that the type of machinery that you come in to do the shave and pave, that's pretty heavy itself. And so you've crumbled the actual surface and the process, and end up having to do a full depth repair. So there's challenges, but I think we definitely need to.
I think we would want to, some of these, on Horse Mill, there's no, Wes and I were just, there's no aggregate underneath it, and that's a very saturated ground. That whole area is real wet, and it probably should have been constructed with aggregate underneath it, so it would have provided a drainage system. But at this point, you almost have to pulverize the path, and then use that as the aggregate,
As your base.
your base, and then put a cap on top of it if we really want. Because the path that we built with the safe routes to school by Meridian Elementary School, all of that's in good shape, but that was all built with the aggregate base.
Yeah.
It's more expensive, but it's going to last
Originally back in
many years.
the 90s when this started going on.
Yeah.
Aggregate base, the paths were put in just like a miniature road. They had the base and compact,
Yep.
et cetera. As time went on and it became more popular in communities, to cut costs, they went to just doing a cut.
Yeah.
Put it on clay.
Just earth moving and then fill the gap with asphalt.
Some of the undercuts never was really
Yeah.
deep enough to stabilize the base.
So, since you mentioned that and about cutting costs, if we want to go back and do it right, I would suggest maybe we look into grant funding and able to do that, and so that way we can save on some of those costs.
If they do put it on clay, you should at least lime the clay, where you actually, that stabilizes the clay and kind of strengthens it quite a bit, as opposed to just putting it.
Did you say line or lime?
Lime.
Okay.
Yeah.
But they use a lime ag.
Yeah,
agate.
it's an agate that they do to stabilize it. And we've done that in other communities.
Yeah.
And it's.
So I know when we put in the horse mill path, which I think the commission didn't have much say so on the actual cross section, what was the aggregate base and et cetera. I think the township engineering consultant did a lot of that work.
Sure.
We looked more at just the usability of the pathway, but we did try to go out for a TAP grant, or Transportation Alternatives Program grant. At the time that year, we were unsuccessful with that. And so the will of the township was, let's spend the money now and just get it done. I think they cut the cost. You might have cut the cost at that point.
Sure, to get
didn't-
more,
yeah,
get
to
more
it
miles
done.
of path.
I know it was even a discussed topic, like, let's just put in a sidewalk. And we're like, no, like, this is gonna get enough use that, if we have the space available, let's try and do a full shared use path. The reason why I bring that up is, since that time, at least the SEMCOG, Southeast Michigan Council of Governments, form of the TAP program has gone from just doing brand new projects, putting in brand new paths like in virgin land, to actually doing modernization projects. So this would fit into that category, and if we're okay with the strings that come with the federal funding, it might be a way to stretch our dollars.
It makes sense, yeah.
And we don't need a project for that. We already have the path to repair. We just have to document what needs to be done.
Mm-hmm. So is there other things that we want to accomplish this coming year? Say we probably want to do like the school day again and walk to school day. There is planning assistance grants through SEMCOG again that, again, depending on what those are, that might be something that we want to apply for if like we need additional planning efforts. Usually the call for that comes out, I think, like in April, and the decision is in July. There's the Natural Resources Trust Fund, which if our recreation plan is up to date, there's like a 2-year, like a 2-stage application deadline for that, which I think one of them is in April. So we might want to look into that to see if one, are we qualified, and 2, do we have a project that we want to submit for? And by we, I mean like anyone within the township.
Yeah, if you wanna send me like a link or an info sheet or whatever you got, just because I know you don't want to end up in a self-fulfilling SEMCOG cycle of grant requests. So would you send it to me so I can?
I would greatly appreciate that. Wearing multiple hats, I ask either my coworkers to look at things so that way I'm not specifically reviewing it, or on the other end, ask fellow BPAC members of the township to take that role on.
Yeah, if you could just get me anything to get started, I'll start taking a look at that.
Cool.
I'm gonna say something, I think, Christine.
I'd like to find a way to work with maybe the recreation department that we can get another bicycle safety course. We were successful once when they helped us sign up. I think we used their sign up program. I think that's how we did it. But then when we requested that last year, they weren't able to help us. And so we tried something with just Sign Up Genius, isn't meant for like a citywide event, and it didn't work so well.
They just didn't, they refused to assist us, or they?
They were in between commissioner or
Recreation
directors, yeah,
Okay.
at the time, and yeah, I think that might have been why. I'm not sure. So
Might have been a
Have
capacity
you talked
issue.
to Zaid at all?
I have not yet.
Okay, I could put you in contact with him.
Okay.
Do you want to spearhead that?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have a really good person. He's willing to come out here. He comes from far away, but he does it for free. He's part of the Michigan, what are they called?
League of Michigan
The
Bicyclists?
League of Michigan Bicyclists, yeah.
They are
And
very good.
He's really good, yeah. He even did some bike repair with the kids. He set up a whole obstacle course, and then we took off and rode around the island practicing things like going in front of Kroger driveways and crossing the busy streets where there wasn't a crosswalk. And it was really good and successful, but it's hard to do if we don't have someone like the recreation department backing us up.
So Zaid's the new rec director, and he's expressed to the board that he really wants to start diversifying what rec is doing. That it's not just like, I don't know, Island Fest and some downtown type stuff. So I think he's probably be on board for that. I'll shoot him an email and then CC you.
Other items.
When is the millage up, just out of curiosity?
Great
I
question.
don't know off the cuff. I didn't bring my 400-page budget with
I didn't
me,
expect
so.
you to, but.
I can look and let
Well,
you
not
know.
right, no, I just kind of curious, because I think we really, to give us some more teeth. We've got to get.
Yeah, and I want to talk to the finance department anyway about our budget, how it's being managed, and I want to see it. So I'm gonna.
Yeah.
I guess one of the questions I have is what do we have left over from the 2023 and when do we get our 2024?
Yeah, I'll find out.
So we know exactly what we have.
Yeah, what comes with the tax seasons, I'm sure. Tax
Well, and our money is dedicated millage fund, so it can't be diverted for other
No,
stuff.
Yeah.
when does it hit our coffers? When do you
Yeah,
understand?
I'll take a look and I'll find out for next meeting.
Jameson, would you be able to see if there's any like discretionary funding for like small projects? You know, like you and I have talked about purchasing counters, so that way we could, you know.
Yeah, I think
do
it's a
more counting
case by case
materials.
basis. We just have to make a proposal and ask for it.
Okay.
So,
Just didn't know like what the timing is for that. I would assume like probably soon is better because like you're probably preparing the budget for the coming fiscal year.
I mean, from the board perspective, pretty much anything less than $5,000 is discretionary. So unless you're like, we're gonna buy $20,000 in counters, it's
Okay.
probably not a budget item. So if we're talking like $1,000, $2,000, that's probably something we could approve in just a regular business meeting. If
Yeah.
we're gonna make a significant investment, then I think we'd wanna budget it, and budgeting should be coming up soon.
Yeah. I think it would be good for us to find out from a couple different vendors, but I know that they can run anywhere between like $2,000 and $5,000 for the portable ones.
So what we would want to do is do a request for quote,
Yep.
probably, from a couple
RFQ.
different vendors, and then present it to the board and, ask them to approve it, so.
Is that a portable counter that maybe we could share it with Trenton? And, they have their bike paths too, so.
Mm-hmm.
And you know what, that's a good point. I bet you this is more of a DPS thing than a BPAC thing, so maybe we can partner with DPS about it if we can find something that works for both pedestrian traffic and
Yeah.
vehicle. Even not necessarily simultaneously, but that could be used for both.
I can tell you that there is one, well, there's probably multiple technologies out there, but I'm familiar with one company that you have one camera, you put it up on a pole, you attach that pole to a fire hydrant or a utility pole or anything, so that way it's secure. You point that camera at the road, and depending on how wide of an area you need to cover, but I would think, again, generally for Grosio roads, it should probably cover an entire intersection. And so you could count simultaneously the number of vehicles coming through and then like the classifications along with people walking and biking.
Yeah, if you could, I guess if you want to get me that, I can start digging into it a little bit.
Yeah. I can tell you that that technology costs a little more, but again, like if we're sharing responsibility with DPS,
Mhm.
maybe that works.
You don't think the police department has anything?
I think it would be useful for them too. I don't think they have anything like that on hand, other than the license plate readers, but those are stationary, so.
Another thing I'd like to do this year, you guys, is maybe start a relationship with the beautification committee and maybe just get on the same page with them and let them know if they want to put any flower beds in along the bike paths or, come up with any ideas that we would work with them on it. Not necessarily doing it ourselves, but, it'd be nice to have, at one of the intersections, maybe they could put in another flower bed along the bike path or along the new bike path.
Is that a committee or is it a club? Is it a township committee?
I don't really know.
I think it's a club.
I think it's a club.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if I don't think it would be an issue from the township's perspective. Yeah, it's a good idea.
I was up in Marquette and they have a club that they go in the spring and everybody plants their own beds and stuff, and they have trellises that they put in, and then they plant their vines and you actually drive through the trellises. They're really pretty.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
And they put like Rose of Sharon on it and, you know, a lot of the flowering vines.
Yeah, if it weren't for the deer, it'd be nice to do like, you know, all kinds of. Well, I mean, like, you know, it'd be nice. You could be riding down the road and pick a, I don't know, green pepper or something would be neat. But I imagine they wouldn't survive a week with the deer. around. So.
Yeah.
So.
Okay.
You know, it's the Island Beautification Committee.
So it is a committee then. Okay. Well, then definitely won't be a problem.
Some of us that are commissions, others that are committees. I'm not sure what's really the difference.
I
But
think a commission has money.
okay. Maybe that's where like it kind of seems like it's more like a club because it's like volunteer as far as like the funds in order to do the projects.
Yeah, I believe the commissions are established by delegation of a board function, whereas the committees are created by resolution. So, but don't retain a legal authority.
Gotcha. Some other items would be one that there's the region-wide Walk, Bike, Drive Safe campaign. I know that's going to change names, but like there's going to be I believe a May, blitz where encouraging all communities within Southeast Michigan to get the word out about safety issues, including walking and biking and driving. So like there's videos that can be played on, government TV. You can play it on YouTube or social media. There's different giveaway items. It might be good to be a part of that. Again, maybe get the police or fire involved with that, since they have more exposure, I think, to the residents than us. And that's not a slam on us. It's just like they have an entire department, and like they do these events that people come to. So that could be something to work on. There's in addition to Walk to School Day, Bike to School Day, there's Bike to Work Day. But another thing that we used to be a part of is the Wayne State Barradour, which is a bicycle event that started up at Wayne State in Midtown Detroit and came to Groseal, did a loop along Groseal and came back off. So I'm not sure if they're still doing that. It might be good to like reach out to like other organizations that are doing runs or bike rides and see like if there, people want to up and like do more events on Groseal. Related to that, I was just wondering, like, Jameson had mentioned about like a mountain biking organization, like maybe reconnecting with like the Run Club, or I think there's Island Road Runners. I think there's like a kids road run club as well that's out there. But any organizations that are doing events, because it's great to have multiple sets of eyes out there as far as what could be done from infrastructure or programming standpoint to make the island more inviting.
Yeah, I think there's Island Road Runners and then Girls Run 2, and then like a kids running club. I think are the three big ones here.
Mark Ferguson does the kids running club, so I can reach out to him.
Okay.
Island Road Runners, I'm not sure who's heading that up anymore. In the past, we were with is it Kali Hooperan, or do you remember her name? Wally was friends with her. Either way, someone's got to have a good contact with Island Road Runners.
I used to run with them, but I haven't in a while. I mean, I could certainly send them an email, or anybody could, I suppose. I have 9 exclamation points on here, which means I have things I need to do, so I'm at capacity.
Gotcha. Okay, well, again.
I have a question, I guess.
Yeah.
Do you think it would be a good idea to do the bike safety course around in the spring when we have the Walk to School Day, or in October, and do it in correlation maybe with the fire safety? They have the open house. We
Yeah.
could do it there. Maybe it's a nice open space.
I think the spring's a good idea because that's when they're all going to start getting on their bikes,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we've historically done that because that way they have the whole summer to like be able to use the knowledge that they had, as opposed to like in the fall, there's less bicycling happening. But at the same time, it's always been a challenge to like get people out to the event, and we have to coordinate with the schools. And although it's changed this year, because I've got a 5th grader this year, and this was the first year that they went from having 5th grade camp in May, which we always tried to avoid because like that's our target audience. Like it's like, you know, kids that are old enough to ride on their own, they might not know the rules of the road, and like they're most likely to listen to someone else about it too. And so like we'd have to time it with that. But like that event just actually happened in November, so it does free up another week in May.
It was difficult in the spring, and I think the last time we did it, it was in the summer, which can be difficult too with vacations, but it's hard to find the right time.
The spring is nice too, because if we want to have the police department assist us, because it's usually in the public safety building, you know, they're going to be short too with people on vacation during the summer, so the spring may be an ideal time.
This is a crazy thought, but what if we do both? Like we do one in the spring where it's fully sanctioned, and maybe it's like a bigger event for like riding around, and then we have something else in the fall where we're just co-opting the public safety event, where, you know, maybe it's just passing out some literature or getting some lights because it's getting darker quicker, and so you're going to be out there walking or running, and you need to, you know, be illuminated more.
I did contact some people, and I was on the path to maybe getting some helmets. I think you maybe remember this, but we were a little worried about us not being qualified to fit children for helmets, right? But maybe if we did that in October, and the fire department, they are qualified to fit children for helmets, I think.
Okay.
So maybe I could follow those leads again, and if we could get some donations of helmets, it might be a good time to do that. It would be October.
Yeah, I mean, if we could do that, that would be great. I know one thing I have heard is that it's challenging getting the helmets because you don't know who's going to show up, and like, you know, how many smalls do you order versus how many large or extra large. And so what I've heard is it's better to work with you know, whoever is willing to donate the helmets. Instead of like fitting it there on the spot, you give someone a coupon, and then they go to the bike shop, and then they get properly fitted for it. So that's another alternative, especially if like the fire department's like, hey, we're at capacity, we've got so much going on, we're not going to be able to fit kids with a helmet as well.
It also include checking your car seats too, if they're there for an event.
Definitely. But bike lights, or, you know, just like little light wrist bracelets or other things, they can easily pass that stuff out.
Right.
Yeah, and as far as getting people there, I think if we have rec support for the sign up, and then kind of do a little bit of an unofficial Facebook campaign, right? Create some graphics or literature, I'm sure we can generate some buzz.
So one thing that Rebecca,
So I guess your concern is this spring then, 3 months from now, or well, 2 months from now. That might be kind of hard to pull off. You know, so
I think we're talking May, probably.
Yeah,
So
so
we have a few more months.
yeah, that's true. Okay,
Yeah.
okay, 4 months
Because if it's too cold, they're not going to bring their kids out.
No.
because they're weak.
They all died off a couple hundred years ago, the weak ones.
I saw your post on Facebook about the schools closing.
Yeah, just go to school, kids. It's not that cold outside. That's why I'm not on the school board.
Related to that, my daughter was talking to me this week, and she's like, you know what, Dad, you should be on the school board. I was like, really? Why? Well, then you have the power to have a snow day, and you can get me a snow day. Like, I don't think it's how it works, but good try, kid. This is some...
That's a scam. She must have really thought that one out.
I know. I said, I think that power lies with the superintendent. She's like, oh, well, then you should be the superintendent. Yeah, I got enough going on.
Yeah.
These are all great ideas. Keep thinking about this over the next couple of weeks here, and shoot us emails, and bring them for the next meeting, and we can have all this list and see if we can do it all. If not, then, you know, maybe we prioritize, like, what's the top things that we need to get done for the year.
Sure.
Does anybody have new email addresses?
Oh.
Because I was gonna say, fire them to you, and then when we talk to you, we'll see the email addresses, then we can start a group.
Yeah. As far as I know, all the emails are working.
Okay.
Sometimes mine filters you out.
It filters me out, or do you?
Yeah, I was gonna say, every time you push that button, it filters it, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's crazy. No, it's it actually we're getting a new email like vendor because it's been such a problem. Like,
Yeah. Are you talking about with the township itself?
yeah, it just anybody who's not in the organization, it quarantines it, and then you've got to go find it and unlock it and approve it, and it's kind of a nightmare. So.
Another thing I wanted to add, since Rebecca's not here, but you know, she had mentioned it'd be nice to close part of East River for like a weekend or something like that, in order to basically create a pop-up bike lane and, you know, try that out.
So, I think that's a cool idea. Actually, it would be. Somebody brought up doing a half Ironman here. Maybe not an Ironman branded one, but a 70.3 triathlon. We're in essentially the perfect location, so maybe you could do it as some kind of like weekend. You know, like there's a race one day, and the day before that, there's, you know, time trials, or you ride for fun or whatever. It'd be kind of cool.
It turned into a really big event.
Yeah. Yep, fill up the pilot house, fill up the local restaurants and bars.
Other thing related to closing roads, maybe we close Bellevue for a weekend, or, you know, for a week or something.
I like
during the
that,
summer,
too.
and
Yeah.
See how it functions.
I wonder if we could partner with is it the Grosdale Land Conservancy?
Yeah, Grosdale Nature and Land Conservancy.
Okay. To do some sort of a bike ride where we meet and then we take the new path over to the area? Because they
Yeah.
do, like on Sundays, don't they do something there on Sundays where they talk about animals or insects?
Yeah, they have like a nature club or something like that.
They do something like that, yeah.
Mhm.
And sometimes it's geared towards kids, and that might be a fun
That would
thing
be
to
good.
do. So meet somewhere, but ride our bikes on the path and then take our new path there. Because everyone's not aware of that path yet still.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you know, that's another thing we could probably do this year is publicize that path
Mm-hmm.
more.
Yeah, I keep saying I'm gonna do like a live ride. I haven't done it yet.
So, reminds me, I don't know how many years they've been doing it, but it's probably it's gotta be at least 4 years, if not more. There's a Roll Along the River event. Joe Gruber, who's the DDA director in Wyandotte and a Grosdale resident, he's one of the people that orchestrated that. And so, like, they'd start generally at John Dingle Park in E-Course, and then they'd ride along Jefferson, going through E-Course. Sometimes they go up to, you know, River Rouge for a start, or they go that way first, and then go through Wyandotte and Trenton, and then turn around. It might make sense, like, hey, if we want to showcase some of the stuff that's been happening on Grosdale, maybe we can get it to be a part of that.
They go down to Elizabeth Park and turn around and go back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, you know, maybe like we get them over here to the the path to the Gibraltar Bay unit. Got a lot of ideas. Thank you, everyone.
Yep.
Is there anything else we want to talk about before moving into liaison report and chair's report?
Good to go.
Nope, I think we're good.
Cool. Well, Jameson, you got the floor for the...
Nothing too significant to report that I think everybody isn't already tracking. I'm still waiting on the construction timeline from Eric with Downriver Link Greenways. And once I have it, I'll inform everybody. I think we're talking fall or longer. But I'll shore that up and get the info to everybody for the
Yeah.
Bellevue connector.
think oftentimes, like, if the grade inspection hasn't happened yet, we're probably looking, like you said, for probably, you know, final design in, you know, like July or like over the summer, and then you're lucky if you're able to break ground in the fall.
Yeah, the bids, MDOT is bidding it in February.
Oh,
as
good.
a total project for the whole region, which I guess is a pretty big cost saving measure. So I guess we'll see. But Eric said they were gonna buff it out last week, and I'll just ping him again to see what's going on, so.
Well, if they're gonna be advertising bids shortly, they're well beyond the grade inspection meeting, so, yeah, definitely accelerated timeline then. That's
Okay.
awesome.
Yeah, so I was told that they have to have money committed in 2024, money spent by the end of 2025,
Okay.
so. That's it.
Excellent. For Chair's report, only thing I'll say is that, hey, it's been snowing, it's icing out there. If you have the ability, check on your neighbors, you know, people of all ages and abilities. They might have troubles with the snow, especially if you don't see it, that their snow has been taken care of. If you have sidewalks in your neighborhood, consider, if you're already out there with a snow blower, you know, blazing a trail, because, you know, we got people getting off the buses, and I know it's kids will thank us if they don't have to trudge through all that snow. So, with that, I'll make
Motion to adjourn?
Yeah, motion to adjourn.
Second.
All right, all in favor?
Aye.
Everybody walk, bike, drive safe. Close the meeting at 8:39.